Hello, and good morning on this gorgeous day. I am hoping that everybody is fine, and my name is Jeffrey. I would like to talk a little bit today about the power of positive expectation. Everybody knows that ONPASSIVE is a powerfully dynamic business that's continually molded by changes through management and economics, and these changes are most certainly going to affect our markets, our vendors, our staff, and even our founders. Because of this, and because ONPASSIVE is moving into a very energetic phase of its development, we need to be aware of the perceptions we have as founders and the expectations that we form as a result of them so that we can better manage and shape them. When our expectations are realistic and healthy, they can help us create a much clearer vision, and this allows us to focus our energy, our intent, if you will, on what we're trying to accomplish and in securing our future. And this is something that we need to do. As founders, this is our work. To cultivate positive perceptions that enable us to be the best version of ourselves that we could possibly be. In the case of ONPASSIVE, as with any endeavor, accurate perceptions give birth to clear, correct, and positive expectations for the future. Those expectations help us to think powerfully and confidently with clarity about that future. The subsequent vision, which is just a mental image of what we want our future to be, creates greater positive momentum for us individually and will also help promote harmony throughout the entire GoFounders community and beyond. So as was said earlier, ONPASSIVE is a business that will continue to be molded by changes despite the fact that it's currently a sleeping giant. And these changes mean that ONPASSIVE's dynamic is constantly shifting. Additionally, these shifts can cause our attention and our energies to shift as well. Sometimes they affect our attitude because they can cause changes in our perceptions. When this happens, we tend to get lost in the minutiae, the details of things. In short, we get distracted. We lose sight of the big picture, and that disrupts our momentum enough to dilute, to slow, or even halt our personal progress. Sometimes this has a negative effect on those around us as well. Some of this is happening now in GoFounders. Though unhealthy and unwanted, it's actually to be expected because we simply cannot please everyone all the time. Anyway, there are founders that have become distracted, soured by the perception of what they feel as unrealized expectations. This is to say that some of us have a disconnect between what ONPASSIVE is actually promised through GoFounders and our own expectations. That disconnect causes unrealistic expectations, so the gap between what we are getting and what we are expecting leads to a dissatisfaction that grows in many ways if left unchecked. And we really don't want that to happen. But we know why that is, right? Because we amplify them. Because placing focus on something magnifies it. It makes it bigger. This is because when we provide focus or give our attention to anything, we're giving it energy, and energy is life. This means we're giving life to the things that we focus on. And if what we continuously focus on, whether negative or positive, gets magnified enough in our mind, it will appear in our reality. This phenomenon, which is very real, can be related to the observer effect in quantum theory. In short, it stipulates that if we're going to focus on something, if we continue to look for it, we're going to find it. It means, in a very simplistic sense, that we're going to get what we think about whether we want it or not. And the speed with which we experience these things is directly proportionate to the strength of emotion and clarity behind that focus. So, if we have 70,000 founders believing with a glad heart we're launching soon, we're going to launch soon. But the truth is, we can't maintain a belief that goes against our desire and ever feel anything more than negative emotion. In other words, we can't have a strong desire for something to happen while believing at the same time that it's not going to happen. Doing this sets up a contradiction within us that is akin to pushing and pulling something at the same time. Living like that causes stress, so we end up exhibiting negative thoughts and other behavior unbecoming of founders. To heal or recover, we need to change or eliminate the negative story that we keep rehearsing. And that's a choice that we have the power to make on purpose. Choosing what to think, I mean. You know, in the book of Philippians, Apostle Paul says that we should be thinking about whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and admirable. He goes on to write that if there's anything that's excellent or praiseworthy, those are the things that we should be thinking about. So what are we thinking about as founders? This is important because we're heading into a very active phase of a pre-launch that is steadily drawing to a close, and we really need to have the right perceptions, the right expectations, and certainly the right attitude moving forward. But our attitudes cannot be those of exaggerated entitlement concerning our position in GoFounders. You know, I wonder sometimes if we think the rather insignificant $97 paid by each of us entitles us to all that is ONPASSIVE. Well, with all the bubble-bursting energy I can muster, I'm saying, no, it doesn't. We need to fully understand that current early bird founders have never been promised anything other than what's contained within the GoFounders platform. We have no entitlements other than the resources of this platform, which includes the back office and all the stuff there, and participation in the marketing campaigns. The things that we have in GoFounders that allow us to market ourselves under its umbrella, dozens and dozens of personal links, multiple social media sites, a superb log, contact management, hundreds of freely available downloads, complete tech support. I could go on naming these things, but I'm sure you're getting the point. What we've been gifted by Mr. Mufara through the GoFounders has cost thousands upon untold thousands of dollars, and a whole lot of people pay large subscription costs for less than what we have free access to. To accommodate the right perspective, we need to understand that GoFounders is just one department within ONPASSIVE. That's one of several dozen departments, and each department's capable of standing on its own as a profit center for ONPASSIVE. This means ONPASSIVE is demonstrating what translates into billions of dollars worth of information technology via the intellectual property and proprietary high-tech systems it has. If we can't trust our own hearts or see the evidence pointing to our success without complaining or expecting more, then we might just want to request a refund and go our separate way, because there's nobody at ONPASSIVE that's interested in trying to convince us of anything. We either get it or we don't. But I can guarantee that if we aren't 100% sure that we want to be here, ONPASSIVE is 100% sure about not wanting us here either. You see, very few people have a view of ONPASSIVE from 60,000 feet, in a manner of speaking. And not many more than that have a true understanding about how many beautifully mind-blowing things we currently have and what other things are under development. GoFounders only equates to what would be a few ounces of the good stuff continually poured into a proverbial bucket that is ONPASSIVE. But ONPASSIVE is its own entity, and even though GoFounders is a wonderful part of it, no one on earth is entitled to know what has or has not been delivered or shared, and being members of GoFounders does not entitle us to a single thing that comes out of it. However, Mr. Mufara is not like other CEOs, and ONPASSIVE is not like other companies. Through ONPASSIVE, we as founders stand to receive much, much more than what was ever promised through GoFounders. But that doesn't seem to be what some of us believe, much less feel. Now, please don't get me wrong. There are lots and lots of people that love what we're becoming and fully understand and appreciate being part of GoFounders and by extension ONPASSIVE. They know that we're in a position to fully receive of the abundance produced and gracefully accept that with an open heart. And let me tell you, but for grace, there go I. After all, a simple definition of grace is to be freely given what we do not deserve and could not otherwise obtain. So, everything provided to founders from outside of GoFounders, which equates to the world's first total internet solution, by the way, is absolutely a gift. And because ONPASSIVE has been created for the founders, all that is ONPASSIVE is gracefully shared with the founders to secure our futures and well-being. But it's not an entitlement. We really need to understand this, and we need to understand our relation to ONPASSIVE from this perspective. Because from this perspective, we can effectively manage our expectations in such a way that calls us to be positive, patient, and above all, grateful. Because I promise you, and I'll say it a little differently this time, it makes no difference what business we're in or what thing we want to do, be, or achieve, We cannot maintain a belief that goes against our desire and ever feel good about it. In the case of ONPASSIVE, I'm saying that if we want the company to provide for us all the good things that we know that it can, and we truly do not believe it will, then we'll never have peace about any of it. Instead, we're going to only produce negative, debilitating thoughts that our egos are going to use to amplify our dissatisfaction and lack of control, bind us up in confusion that causes frustration for ourselves, and then it's going to do the same thing for those that we're close to. So don't fall into that trap. We draw life to us. It does not come at us. And true to that, ONPASSIVE is coming from a place of heart. Mr. Mufara's personal gain is not the primary reason for its creation, and a few people will not spoil such a beautiful dream for the rest of us. There is no entitlement to ONPASSIVE, but you've got to agree with me, this is a no-brainer. As members of GoFounders, we're called not necessarily to believe in our future so much as we are to help believe our future in. As founders, we need to understand this and take our rightful place as all-in believers that support, without reservation, the whole of ONPASSIVE by first recognizing and fulfilling our role as founders. We do this through choosing not to complain and be critical. We do this by being patient, supportive, and grateful while keeping a spirit of cooperation while we close in on our destination. Hey, it's done. It's just a matter of time. It's massive and it's being perfected, and the demand is phenomenal. This is a do-it-or-die ambition with intended direction, and it's so totally worth it. So stop trying to compare us. There is none like us. We have evolved into something much bigger and much different from when we started, since we got our first taste of that unexpected momentum thrusting us into the unknown. And we're not done yet. But if we had done what we had originally planned, we'd have been already there with barely a whisper. Instead, now we're a total internet solution. It's all here, and it's 100 times bigger than what we thought it would be in the beginning, because the vision grew, the mission grew, the dream grew. And when we open to the public in excess of 100,000 strong, it's going to be with such a digital roar that the entire world's going to take notice, and the vibration of our arrival is going to resound deep into the tectonics of online marketing. Just relax. We've made the decision. Stay positive, stay patient, and stay grateful. This is only going to work one way, so we're staging it out to ensure the desired outcome. There is no other choice. Remember, we'll do this or die. Remember, we're talking about the paradigm shift that is ONPASSIVE. Remember, we are GoFounders, and we are in it to win it. Let's do it with love, let's do it with heart, and let's do it with gratitude. I thank you so much for listening to this, and I wish blessings upon blessings to every one of you.